Hi there, my name is Candace Duff, and welcome to the Candace Duff Show. In case you don't know who I am, I'm an author, I'm an attorney, I'm a book coach, and I'm a self-publishing consultant. And I help smart, capable women like you fulfill their dreams through writing a book, whether that's writing a memoir, whether that's starting a book-based business, or whether that's writing a book to help you achieve whatever goals you want to achieve. And today I'm going to talk to you about why you haven't finished your book. Yeah, I'm talking to you. The person who's been writing their book for 5 years and still hasn't gotten it done. The person who thinks they want to write a book and just never got around to finishing it. The person who started writing a book and has, I don't know how many pages already written and just can't finish it. Today, we're going to talk about why you haven't finished your book. And more importantly, what you can do to finally move forward. We're going to talk about the mindset blocks that keep smart, talented women like you stuck. We're going to talk about the biggest myths about book writing that are holding you back. And we're going to talk about how outlining and writing your book fast can help you conquer these fears and actually get your book done. Sound good? Let's dive in. Let's start with the emotional stuff because this is what keeps most people from finishing their books or even starting their books in the first place. The number one emotional thing that keeps you back is imposter syndrome. What do I mean by that? That's that little voice in your head saying, who am I to write this? I'm not an expert. Who's going to listen to me? Who am I to write this book? If you're suffering from imposter syndrome, you're not alone because the biggest names in the business, the biggest authors that you can think of, the biggest minds that have ever walked this earth also suffer from imposter syndrome. And guess what? The more successful you are, the more likely you are to suffer from imposter syndrome. Einstein suffered from imposter syndrome. The phenomenal woman herself, Maya Angelou, suffered from imposter syndrome. These people had no business suffering from imposter syndrome, but they did. Imagine being J.K. Rowling with the critical acclaim that the Harry Potter series has gotten. Imagine being her and trying to write the next series. How would she feel? How could I do anything better than what I did? It was blind luck, or that I even got picked up in the first place. Every author feels this. I feel this. Every author feels this. You don't have to be the best. You just need to be useful. And that's the truth. Okay. And that's truth bomb number one. You don't have to be the best at what you do. You just got to be, as one mentor once told me, one step ahead of the person behind you. Right? You just got to be useful to somebody. You got to be honest. You got to be relatable. But you don't have to be the best in order to write the book that will help you fulfill your dreams. And people don't want perfection, right? I mean, you're not looking at me with this hat on my head and this wig talking about, I want perfection. People want people who are relatable. I didn't feel like combing my hair today, and I'm here explaining to you how you can get your books done. But you're here to hear me talk about how you can get your books done. And you're not worried about my wig, right? Or if you are, that's one thing. But the bottom line is people want people who are relatable, people who know what they're talking about, but not necessarily perfection and not necessarily the top expert in the biz. Okay. The next thing that's probably holding you back is perfectionism. And let me tell you, people who are successful, people who are professionals like me, I'm an attorney, people who, just like doing a good job or whatever, who take pride in their work, they a lot of times suffer from perfectionism. And you're trying to write a book that's smart, right? You're trying to write a book that's well crafted, that's beautifully structured, with every sentence having to shine. But the bottom line is, you're not going to write a book, your first draft of a book, that's going to be perfect. It just doesn't work that way. Perfection is the enemy of finished. Let me repeat that. Perfection is the enemy of finished. And the trick to writing a book is to write the damn thing and get it finished. Okay? No one writes a perfect first draft, not even best-selling authors. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Tom Clancy. I don't care if you're Nora Roberts. I don't care if you are J.K. Rowling. Your first draft is not going to be great. And why is that? That's because the job of your first draft is not to be perfect. The job of your first draft is to get your thoughts out of your head and onto the page, right? That's the job of your first draft. So your biggest thing is to get that first draft done so you can work on it. I once heard Nora Roberts say something to the effect of, you can revise a bad first draft, right? You can rewrite a bad first draft. You can't fix a blank page. And that resonated with me. because I was like, okay, if I'm staring at my computer saying I can't write anything because I don't write perfect and my book won't be perfect if I start writing right now, I'm never going to get the book done. So perfectionism is the enemy of finished. All that fixing your book happens in the editing part, not the first draft writing part. Okay, that's in the revision part. Now let's get to another reason why people don't finish their books. And believe it or not, it's a twofold, it's like two halves of a whole. It's the fear of success and the fear of failure. And believe it or not, they're two sides of the same coin. What do I mean by that? Right? The fear of failing is, what if I try to write this book and I spend all this time on it and it flops? You know what? Anybody who's ever been successful has tried 50 million times and failed, okay? You learn from those failures. You learn what to do to move forward. Okay? If you don't fail, then you don't learn. And if you don't learn, you don't get better, right? So the fear of failure shouldn't be what holds you back from writing your book. If you write your first book and it's a flop, guess what? You probably have another book in you. As a matter of fact, most people have several books in them. Okay. And if you're not writing your magnum opus off the bat, if you're writing something a little bit more streamlined, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Okay. And then there's the other part. What if I actually do succeed? What if I actually write this book and it gets critical acclaim, but some people judge it? Some people quote it. Some people think harshly about me because of it. Hey, people will judge you. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good your book is. I don't care how bad your book is. People will judge you. Deal with it. Okay. If your dream is to write your book, then write your book. And don't worry about people judging you. Don't worry about what people are going to say about you because this is your book. Okay. And if you write it well, there will be people on both sides of the coin. You will get people who will critically acclaim it and who love it, and you will get people who hate it. Guess what? Your people are the people who love it. Those are the people that you relate to. That's going to be your tribe. All right. So that's how you deal with the fear of failure and the fear of success. What you need to be thinking instead of what if, what if it fails or what if it succeeds and what am I going to do if somebody says anything about it? What if it could help somebody? What if what you write actually helps somebody? If what you write will be something that can actually help somebody, whether it's hearing your story, whether it's seeing, how you went through what you went through and how you came through it, you have a job. It's your duty to share it. Don't worry about what people are going to say. If it can help one person in this world, it's your duty to put it out there. Now, there are three of the biggest book blocking myths, right? These are the three myths that will keep people from writing their books, and they are the biggest myths out there. The first myth is writing a book has to take a long time. No, it doesn't. There are several different ways that you can write your book that do not have to take 5 years. There's so many techniques out there that you can use and so many time-saving tips that you can use where you can write your book quickly, efficiently, and fantastically at the same time. It doesn't have to take forever. It doesn't have to take 5 years to write a good book. There have been many books throughout history that have been written quickly that are considered to be classics. And I'll do a separate video about that at some other time. But the bottom line is there are many ways you could dictate your book. You can learn other fast writing techniques. You can do a lot of things to speed up the writing of your book, especially the first draft. Your first draft should never take you 5 years at all, or 1 year, or even a month. So, bottom line is that is a myth. And I'm here to tell you it's a myth. I've written my books, each of them, my first draft, usually within 30 days, usually during what used to be called National Novel Writing Month, where maniacs from all over the globe used to sign up on a website and vow to write a 50,000 word book within from November 1 to November 30 of every year. NaNoWriMo closed down last year and no longer exists, and I'm really sorry about that. But it really solidified for me that I really need to get out there and help people learn how to write their books quickly and efficiently because it no longer exists. It's no longer a resource that people can use to get their books done. It taught me, I did NaNoWriMo every year for like 10 years, and it taught me that you can write the first draft of your book quickly, efficiently, and fantastically. All right, myth number two, your first draft has to be perfect. No, it doesn't. Your first draft is not supposed to be perfect. Your first draft is supposed to be messy. Like I said, the mission of a first draft is to get the book out of your head and onto a page, right? To get that story out there in written format so you can fix plot holes, so you can fix the story, so you can, tighten up the language, so you can take out the redundancies, right? You need something that you can revise to make it perfect. But your first draft is supposed to be messy. It is just supposed to get that knowledge or that story out of your head and onto the page. So that's a myth. That's myth number two. Now, myth number three is one of the biggest myths out there. And that myth is that you have to write your book all by yourself. No, you don't. You could have a writing partner. You could have a coach that would hold your hand every step of the way. You could have people who teach you how to structure your books. You can get support for your books. You do not have, you can get fellow writers to hang out with you so you can write together. Okay. Each of you can write your own books together, but you could be in the company of other writers. Writing can be a solitary endeavor, right? I mean, we're often in our houses writing by ourselves or whatever, but writing doesn't have to be a solitary endeavor. You could actually join focused writing groups. You can get support from a coach like me. You can get support from fellow writers. You can find a structure that can help you focus on your book and get it done. So writing doesn't have to be done all by yourself. You don't have to do it in a vacuum. And having a guide or a coach like me doesn't make you weak. It makes you smart. It makes you not have to white knuckle it all the entire way through. Okay, it gives you that support that you need. Now, it's time to talk about what you can actually do to beat all those fears and all those myths and to finally finish your book. And here's my favorite combo. My favorite combo is to start with an outline. If you actually do a good outline of your book, if where you know where you're going every step of the way, it'll give you that guidepost. That way you're not going blind, right? You're not going blindly. If you have a good outline, how are you going to start the book? How are you going to end the book? What's going to be in the book? How are you going to structure the book? What you want to say in the book, or a good outline of your story, that'll help you know where you're going every step of the way. And that way you're not writing blindly. And that way you're not wondering what to do at every step of the book, right? You know what's going to happen in each chapter, and you can break down each chapter as well. So having an outline is a critical step in writing your book because it gives your brain a plan. It quiets the chaos in your brain, right? It quiets all those doubts and everything because you know where you're going every step of the way. It gives you a plan, and it helps you see the shape of your book before you even write the first word. If you can see the shape of your book, if you know where you're going every step of the way, then you're not afraid to write that book, right? You're not letting these myths hold you back. You're excited to start getting that done. And that's important. And outlining doesn't have to be rigid. You don't have to do every single thing in your outline and never deviate from it. Outline is a guide, right? An outline is a guide. It's a plan. It's not, every plan deviates at some point, right? The best laid plans of mice and men. Every plan goes to hell, as they say in the Marines. But the bottom line is, if you have a plan, you at least have a direction. You at least kind of know where you're going. Now, if you want to know how to outline your book, if you're like, well, Candace, how do I outline a book? What is this outline supposed to look like? I actually have a free guide that you can get that will help you. And I'm going to put the link in the description box below. And it's called like How to Outline a Nonfiction Book. And it'll take you step by step in how to outline your book so that you know where you're going every step of the way. You get that in the description box below. The second step that I actually approve in order to get over all these fears and myths is writing your book fast, writing your first draft fast. And why does that work? It works because the quicker you whip out your first draft, the less time you have to think about, oh, who am I to write this book? I'm not an expert. The less time you have to worry about, oh, but it's not perfect, right? If you whip out a first draft, you use your outline, you whip out that first draft fast, you have everything out of your head and onto the page. And that gives you something that you can shape. That gives you something that you can work with in order to make it perfect, right? That's how the writing process goes. You whip out your first draft, you keep going until you're down at the end, and then you put it down for a few days, and then you come back and you revise that first draft. You look at what you have, you create a synopsis, and you revise that first draft. And it's in the revision process where you actually go to make your book perfect, or at least as good as it can be, not perfect. Okay. You go back in there and you figure out where the holes in the plot, where the holes in what I've outlined. Did everything that I was thinking about, get out of my head and onto the page? What do I need to add? What's redundant? Or as my mother used to say, repetitively redundant, right? So Writing your book fast will give you more confidence. It will give you that satisfaction of getting your book done quickly and efficiently. It'll give you something to work with that you can create, that you can mold into your vision. Okay. And one of the reasons how I help people write their books quickly and efficiently is my Write Your Book in a Weekend program. And in that program, you learn fast writing techniques. You learn how to outline your book. You get my help. You get an hour help from me during the session to outline your book. And then I teach you fast writing techniques, and we spend a focused weekend together working on your book. That's how my how to write your book in a weekend program works. We, and as a group, we spend a focused weekend doing writing sprints and everything we can to help you whip out your first draft quickly, efficiently, and fantastically. And if you get stuck, you have me there, a book coach, to guide you. We go into a separate room on Zoom, and I help you with wherever you're stuck. So you have somebody there to help you with where you're stuck. You have somebody there to help you with your outline, and you know where you're going every step of the way, and you just keep working on that book in a focused weekend, and we get the majority, if not all, of your first draft done. All right. So if you're interested in how to write your book in a weekend, go ahead. The link is going to be in the description box below. Click on it and learn more about that program. We're going to be doing that at the end of March, the last weekend in March. So if you're available and you want to whip out your book, go ahead and click on that link. And if you think you need more than just, a freebie on how to outline your book, or more than the quick write your book in the weekend program, if you've already written your book and you need help marketing it, or you need help revising it, or you want somebody's eyes on it, or you just want somebody to hold your hand during the self-publishing and launching process, then go ahead and get on my calendar and book a free session so we can talk about your needs and how I can help you. All right, if you're still here, here's what I want you to remember. You're not lazy. You're not flaky, okay? You're just human. And writing a book can be a big undertaking. And if you have all these myths in your head or whatever, that that's probably going to stop you unless you push through it. But remember, your story, your book deserves to get done and deserves to be heard. And if one person can be helped by what you write, then you have a duty to get your message out. So if you need help, you know, go into the description box below, do whatever it is you need to get that help, whatever support you need. All right. And remember, your future readers, they're waiting for you. I'll see you in the next video.